Hello, this is Jeff Kelly, and in this video, I'm going to talk about why student loans should be dischargeable in bankruptcy. Back in the 90s, student loans could get wiped out in bankruptcy just like any other debt. And in their infinite wisdom, Congress decided to make student loans virtually impossible to discharge in bankruptcy. Well, what do you think happened as a consequence? Well, banks started to pour a lot of money into student loans because here was this great debt you could put young people into, and you never had to worry about them wiping out the debt in bankruptcy. And surprisingly, not really, the tuition rates have more than doubled since then, if you look at it in real dollar terms. So, can you imagine living with $200,000 of student loan debt just hanging over you? For many Americans, that is a reality, and they don't have the ability to pay for it. They're never going to be able to pay for it, but it's just going to hang there indefinitely, accruing interest, accruing late fees. Want to buy a house? Forget it. Want to finance a car? Forget it. Want to borrow money so you can start a new business? Forget it. Want to get married? Forget it. Want to have children? Forget it. How many millions of important life decisions do you think have been altered by the fact that people are strapped with tons of debt? They can't move. They can't get a fresh start. I know it's pure conjecture on my part, but I would venture to guess it's huge. It's had a huge impact on the younger generation. So, going forward, what should happen? Well, I think Congress needs to amend the laws. We need to make student loans dischargeable just like any other debt. And there are people out there who will say, well, if you do that, every kid that graduates from college is going to go wipe out their student loans. No, they won't. Some people can afford to pay their student loans. Some people can't. Well, who do you think is in the absolute best position to decide who should and who should not pay their student loans? I would argue it's the bankruptcy system. We've got great judges. When we've got trustees that are very zealous about enforcing the law. And when someone files bankruptcy, you've got to submit paperwork. You've got to submit tax returns. You've got to submit paycheck stubs. Bankruptcy is not just some magic card that people wave and abracadabra, all their debt's wiped out. So all this hoopla, blah, blah stuff about, the kids are going to get off easy if they're allowed to wipe out their student loans. Well, I mean, what's the cold, hard truth? There's like over $5 trillion of student loan debt out there that's currently in default. Do you think it's ever going to get paid by keeping it non-dischargeable? No. The colleges already got their money when the loan was made. But this debt that's just hanging over students, the only thing that is accomplished by keeping student loans from being dischargeable in bankruptcy is that a lot of young people are held down for life and can't get a fresh start. I want to talk to you real quick about some famous people in history who were able to get a fresh start. Henry Ford, his first Ford Motor Company didn't make it. Can you imagine what our world would look like if Ford had been trapped under a huge cloud of debt that he was never able to get out from under? Oh my gosh, the world would be much worse. What about Walt Disney? The first Disney company didn't make it. Thank God he was able to get a new, fresh start in life. And I mean, think about the millions of people who work either for Disney or in businesses related to Disney. We're very blessed by the fact that we live in a country where people are able to get a second start. Abraham Lincoln had to file. Larry King's had to file. Donald Trump's filed a few times. A lot of people, a lot of companies have used the bankruptcy system to get a fresh start, and it makes sense. In fact, I would argue that one of the reasons the United States has the best economy in the world is because we have a bankruptcy system. It was started in this country from the very beginning. It was written into our Constitution And I'll have clients ask me, who came up with this crazy idea? What inspired them? They're shocked when I tell them it's actually the Bible. Go read Deuteronomy chapter 15. Read it. That's where our founders of the country got the idea of bankruptcy. And I'm glad we have it. I'm glad we live in a country that gives people a second chance. Part of the reason that colleges are able to just keep raising costs, raising tuition year after year after year, it is because the loan companies are willing to make it. It's backed by the government. And if there was a connection between real market forces and the actual value of the diploma, there are a lot of college loans that would never happen, ever. And, honestly, there are some degrees that just aren't worth $300,000 of student loan debt. They shouldn't be made. They shouldn't have been made in the first place. And if student loans were dischargeable in bankruptcy, I think it's going to be part of the system that's going to bring sanity back to the college education system. And, the flip side of this that really bothers me, I think it's great that a lot of young people have caught on and realize how dangerous student loan debt is. But the sad part is that there are some smart kids out there who could and should go to college and choose not to because they don't want to take the risk of getting in this massive pile of debt and have it hang over them for the rest of their lives. That's sad. And it's sad that college education has gotten that inflated. There needs to be a change. We can change, and we should. And in conclusion, I would like to ask you to please vote for candidates who are going to support discharging student loans in bankruptcy. Thank you for tuning in.